So here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies, gentlemen, non-binary folks of the universe is not unknown. This is That's Our Q, or TOQ for short, where we take your questions and we answer them as if anybody gives an absolute butthole of what our opinion is. But having said that, my name is Adam, and of course, with me is my pal from across the state in another state, Daniel Guarantee.
So far across that I'm in another state.
So
Amazing.
far
Hi,
over.
everybody. I am Danny Guarantee, the hostest with the mostest.
I thought I
Uh,
was. I think you introduced me as that last time, so I feel like
Look,
you're
that was so last week, okay?
it was. I haven't even edited that episode yet. I'm behind. I could have just gotten it done, but I'm
Ugh,
just such a slacker.
that was so last week. Like, gag me with a spoon.
Oh man, I'm moving in a few days, and it's been quite the up and down story. And so, like, every time I just think about like editing something, even though it's TOQ is so easy to edit because I do very little of it, I'm like, I could do that, but I could pack. But then
But
I
I could
don't
also
pack, nor do
not.
I edit, and I do nothing.
I, dude, I've been doing that for 36 years.
Man, I don't know why I get stuck in this stupid loop. Um, yeah, but before we get into the questions, because we have a couple today, just my first question is how's Danny in the year of 2020? Just how you doing? Just how are you physically? How's your health? Are you happy at home? Just how is Danny?
Pretty good, I would say. Danny's doing pretty good. I have to make a doctor's appointment because I had
Okay.
to cancel my last one. It was right
Mm,
when I got laid off.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So I had no insurance, but I have insurance again, don't worry.
Oh
I
yeah.
just, you know, much like you packing, I keep thinking like, "Oh man, I should make a doctor's appointment." And then I just don't.
I know it's so
Sorry,
silly.
mom. I'll get on it. I promise. You don't need to
Mm,
call me and remind me. Um, Hopefully by the time you hear this, I've already done it.
yes.
Other than that, I mean, health is fine. Like nothing's going on or anything.
Good.
It's something I need to do. Other
Okay.
than
Okay.
that, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, things are going they're going pretty okay here, Still grinding away trying to find a new place to sell my soul. So if Funinstallers not worked up is if you guys want to contribute to the show.
Yeah, if you wanna,
Um
we don't have a GoFundMe per se, but we do have a Ko-fi if you wanna
we have a
help
Kofi if you
support
want to pay
Daniel
my
in these
bills.
these trying times. Um,
Um, there was what we were talking about last night. Me
sure,
and
sure,
Adam
sure.
were playing games last night and just chatting about life. I won't get too into it, but the voice acting stuff is going in a few directions,
Yeah.
and it sounds like things are actually starting to move. The ball is starting to roll a little bit with that.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, I think I told you last night I got some really positive feedback from an author who I did an audio book for some
Yep,
characters in
yep,
an
yep.
audiobook. So that was really nice to hear. She
Very
loved it.
exciting.
Um, but yeah, I mean, things have just been going all right. How about you, Mr. Adam? I mean, I know you got the move. You were talking last night about how ups and down that is going.
Sure, yeah. I won't
Um,
get it too into it in this episode because we have too much to talk about. But yeah, I'd say, um, eh, general state of things on Earth, not great, but, like, I think for like, I was just talking to my new roommate, here sh they'll be my roommate here in a few days, we've been hanging out a lot, and something that, I'm realizing that has been very positive for me, and, like, despite, like, a lot of hangups with the move and then, like, things falling through, and then we're having to pivot and everything, it's a whole story, but something that, like, they said the other day when we were in the car and we were having to, like, sort some things out when we were driving back from a visit we were doing, and, like, they were like, are you okay? Because like the short of it for the listeners is that I had a place we're going to move into. A water main burst just a couple days ago, and now we have to pivot and figure out somewhere else to go in a very short amount of time. Their lease isn't up for another couple of months, but they're moving out early. My lease is up in a few days, and so when we were in the car, they said, "I'm upset for you. You don't seem like you're upset enough. You know what is like, what's going on? Are you okay?" And the first thing I said was, "I don't think it's time to panic yet." And, like, I realized that, like, I've kinda held on to this idea of it's not time to panic until it's time to panic, and I don't think I've hit that wall very many times in my life. And so this is another one where it's like, there's still things to do. We had a couple of options thrown at us after we got this news from the leasing company, and I was like, "You know what? It's stressful, and we're gonna have to make decisions very quickly, but I feel like I work well under pressure, and some of it's a waiting game, which sucks. But I don't think it's time to panic yet. And they were like, "Well, I'm panicking for you. You don't seem like you're upset enough. How do you do that?" And it was just really nice for me to in that moment to be like, I'm still like I'm still good at this, like good at like maintaining my composure in times where I don't think a lot of people do. And it's not that I'm measuring myself against others exactly, but I've seen how that stacks up with others. And I'm like, I'm doing all right, maybe even superhuman in a situation where most
Hi,
people would
I'm
be.
Adam. I bury my troubles so that they can fester and grow. I like to
Or,
cultivate them like plants.
for me, it's just I do better with knowing that I'm I improvise well. I'm not a good planner, but I'm a good improviser. So like,
There are a few key things that I think, like, really help you with this. Like, you were saying the other night that, what happened is not your fault at all. That's a huge one.
sure.
And like you said, this happened right before you got the place, so it's not your responsibility. It sucks, like, it is really bad what happened, but at least it happened before it became your
Right.
problem in more ways than how it affects your life immediately.
Correct. And
So
not
that,
only that,
there
but
are some mitigating factors, which
sure,
is good.
right. That's what I was gonna say was like there are some things going on at it, but it could have happened while we were there. Our stuff could have gotten ruined. We would have had to scramble much faster with everything going on if that had happened while we were there, and if the pipe still froze while the water main was open and everything, like hell, that means that that pipe was not good. So maybe this was like, a blessing in disguise. Like it's
Yeah.
stressful, it sucks, it checked a lot of boxes, but there we are. So anyway, like the long and short of it is like I feel that when the chips are down, I feel like more often than not, I still find a way to come out on top in a situation where otherwise I think people may, spiral. And I haven't spiraled. And I feel really strong about that. So I feel really good that I feel like I find ways to center myself in situations where everyone else around me is not. Especially if somebody else has a stake in it, like my roommate, their name is Hitch. Hitch is a little bit more of a worrier than I am. So
Clearly.
when I have other people around, I feel like I have to really rise to the occasion so they know it's okay to not panic too. So it was, so I just feel very good that I am still able to hold on to that. And like, we've talked about different traumas and tragedies on the show and in our conversations in the past. And I just feel very good that I've still been able to hold on to that after all this time. So it was
That's
just a
good,
nice
man.
thing
Yeah.
that when someone goes, "How are you calm right
Just
now?"
keep calm and keep moving on, right?
Yeah, man.
As
Any
as
time to
as
panic?
long as that's what you're doing and it's not just like disassociating or being dead inside. That's very
No, I
different.
know. It's the opposite of, like, when I'm like, "I could pack, but I could also not pack."
Okay.
That's
Just
a
making
problem.
sure. I just gotta look out for you.
No, no, and I appreciate that, and, like, I have expressed, like, things I might be a little worried about, but, like, nothing it's the difference of, like, worrying isn't going to help, so why would I do it? But I'm not ignoring that there's a challenge, but I'm like, I know what avenues I can take, and then more information will come as I explore them. So I'm excited to find out what those are. So like I'm always in like a there's still an avenue here. Like if I lose more pathways, then maybe I'll be a little bit more worried. But there are still avenues we can take. We got information whether we're like, if you look at other properties we have, we can try to get you in on the moving date you were trying to do, which alleviated some anxiety I had. So I was like, there's still options. We just have to look and see what there are. So it's not like all the options were removed. It just that that particular one was. So you know what I'm saying? Like it sucks. And we had plans and visions for what we were going to do with the place. But also like, there's other things we can do. And so why would I panic when there's still options available?
Mhm. I
Um,
I'm a lot alike in that way where as long as I feel like there is something I can do, I'm usually pretty good when it comes to panicking. I'm fine keeping a cool head so long as I think I can help in some way.
mhm,
It's when something's going wrong in such a way that I can't do anything, that powerless feeling kills me.
sure.
I hate it.
It is a tough. Yeah, and there's when we were talking last night about like some current events, I definitely feel that where like there's only so many things I can do, but I had a talk at work recently with some partners and a lot of I always have to like take my own advice sometimes cuz I forget that like there's still ways to apply it where I was talking about information and sharing valuable information and making sure information is clear and easy to understand and it's not misinformation because people have different ideas of what they think things are. And I keep thinking the same thing. Like, I can still make sure I'm staying informed. I can make sure I'm giving the right information when things go on. I feel powerless in certain situations because I'm angry, but it doesn't mean that there's not things I can do. It's just that, like, maybe what I'm doing, I always say the world is made of 7 billion smaller worlds, and I can try to affect
Mhm.
those worlds in the best way that I can in situations like this. So, that's a big deal. One extra world that you can make better is a big deal.
Well,
You made
and
my
we
world better
talked
last night
about
when we talked. You
and
affected a whole entire world just by being there when I needed it, right? Like, that's huge. And
I'm
that's, like,
happy to
not
help, my
something I think
friend.
people recognize when rising to an occasion for someone.
Well, and I
Like,
think
that is
I
a whole
brought this
entire
up
world.
one other time earlier, in our episodes. But yeah, everybody's world is like their whole world is their experience, just like yours is yours, right?
Mhm.
So when you do something nice for somebody, like hang out with them at, last night to cheer them up a little bit, it affects that person's whole world. You changed an entire world for that one person. You
Mhm.
don't have to change the world for everybody, just for one person for a night.
Sure. That's
And
huge
that
in a lot of
alone
ways.
is so helpful. And that's what I use to kind of get through current events. Obviously, I don't condone a lot of what's happening, and not to get too in the weeds about it, because this is not that kind of show. I promise.
At least it's not going to be today.
At least not on purpose. It's not.
Right.
But there are a lot of things going on right now that I don't condone, and the way I kind of deal with that and help in my own way is I make sure I am not a part of the problem. I'm I'm just trying to survive on my own too. Like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, I can't strike. I can't, go out and do things because I'm barely making ends meet as it is. But what I can do is make sure I'm not a part of the problem. And when the opportunity comes to make something a little bit easier, or make somebody's life a little bit easier or nicer, taking advantage of that to just add a little bit of good to help balance out the bad.
Mhm.
And I
Sometimes
think if everybody did that, it would add up to a lot of good. It would be really helpful.
1,000%. I completely agree. Like, sometimes it's
Every
just a matter of putting a little less shit into the world because there's
Yeah,
enough of it
everybody
already.
wants to do these big grand gestures. Like, just do little things, and if because then they're easy, it's accessible for everybody. And if everybody just did little nice things for each other, the world would be a hugely different place.
Yeah, think about like, like how we have a lot of garbage that humans create, right? And there's ways to be more sustainable, right? There is, or like, hey, if I put this recycling here, or if I compost here, or if this goes to the landfill, even if less goes to the landfill and more goes into recycling and or composting or just reduction in general, right? You can still think about that with like where you put your emotions. You're allowed to have whatever feelings that you have, but sometimes you got to know where the right place to put them is, because like sometimes you're just throwing your trash on somebody else's porch, right? You're
Mhm.
just throwing all that bad stuff at somebody with like no, with malice or without any regard for how it affects them. But sometimes it's like, hey, if you have all these bad feelings that are cropping up and you're constantly throwing your garbage on other people, maybe you got to find a better place to handle that garbage, right? And like maybe turn it into something more sustainable or turn it into more energy for yourself, or recognize there's a problem and just produce less of it, right? Less greenhouse gases, less garbage, less negativity, less rage, less racism, right? Whatever you can do to like reel some of that in. Sometimes it's not about, like you were saying, you might not have a solution, but at least you're not part of, you're not putting any more of that out either, right?
Right.
You're like reducing, or you're not,
I'm
you
trying
know,
to help mitigate as
exactly. And
best I
that's
can.
sometimes that's the best you can do. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, I
Absolutely
think,
nothing wrong with that.
just to put it more succinctly so it's easy to digest for everybody, what we're really trying to say here is maybe just don't be a piece of shit this year,
I
okay?
was literally going to say the
Yeah.
same thing.
Maybe just, this one year, this just this one year, just don't be a piece of shit
We
this
gotta
year, all
bring this
right?
back every episode, Danny. We
Every
have to bring it
episode
back
for
to
the entirety of
don't
2026.
be a piece of shit this
We're
year.
gonna remind you, just don't be a piece of shit this year.
Yeah. Now, having said that, I do have a couple of questions pulled up. That was a wonderful discussion without like a proper question. So I think is a good way to segue into one that I found
Who
that,
needs
that
questions?
led me into down a rabbit hole of something that I found that's very beautiful. So I know this question is going to sound a bit bizarre, but it's going to lead to something I'm really excited to share with everybody that I found. Um, so this is from the No Stupid Questions Reddit, and the person must have deleted their account because it just says deleted where their name should be. But the question is, how do you stop being a racist? And all it says underneath it says, okay, I'm going to be honest. I am a racist. I won't mention whom I'm racist towards because I don't want to hurt their feelings. I don't want to be racist, but I don't know how to stop being a racist. Is there any way I can change this? And there's some great responses in here, one of which is like hanging out with other groups of people and things
Mhm.
like that, don't share the same kind of, different beliefs as you, or they might be from different places as you. But then somebody had mentioned like, you know, that's the optimal answer, but sometimes you don't have access to a very diverse place, especially if you live in more remote or rural areas. And so somebody recommended, well, before I tell them what the recommendation is, like I would like to hear like your thoughts on the question because I don't want to just dominate
Yeah,
the
no problem.
question. But um, I do have something that somebody shared in response to that that I think is really beautiful that I know that you looked at a little bit. Before I
Mhm.
get to it, like I'd like to hear like your thoughts also. Like, if somebody asked you that genuine question, man, you know what? I'm just going to admit it. I do have racial tendencies. I'm trying to be better about it. What does that look like? How do I stop? Whether this was, this seems like it's a genuine question. So, like, what would you say?
First of all, congratulations on the first step, which is realizing you have these feelings and that they're not fair.
Hmm.
Uh, for me, I grew up in a very homogenized area. I went to Catholic school almost all my life, all the way till college. In grade school, we had one, just for everybody's reference, I am white. We had one black guy in my class in grade school, and that was about it as far as diversity went. High school, we had a few more, we started seeing more diverse student body, and everybody was super nice of all races, all ethnicities. Everybody was super nice, but I never really had like a, I never really had a run in with culture shock until I went to college because I decided in an attempt to broaden my horizons and kind of get out of this little bubble I'm in, as well as the fact that Beluga was going to the school as well. I decided to go to a more inner city school for college. And yeah, it was a culture shock at first, but you get used to it, right? And at first, I don't want to say it wasn't because of race, but more because I didn't feel like I belonged, that I would feel unnecessarily like nervous or afraid. I was one of those people that was like, at night, I'm not going outside or anything because I don't know. I'm
Hmm.
in inner city school. I grew up in the suburbs, like away from all of that. And it was more just, I don't know what this more inner city culture is like. After a couple years of it, I grew onto it. It's not my culture. It's not one that I seek out. It's not me, but like I can accept it. It's fine. I learned to get over those irrational fears of it. It's just the fear of the unknown is mostly what it comes down to. And the best way to deal with that is to just meet people of diverse backgrounds. It helps you see that everybody's just people. We're raised slightly differently, different customs. Maybe you pray to a different god, religion, whatever. But at the end of the day, we're all people that respond to certain stimuli the same way, with the same emotion. I don't think that there's any culture that just straight up considers killing a good thing and something that you should feel happy about. There are cultures that probably condemn it worse than others, but there are some things that are just universal about people, and it's hard to see that in a world that, let's be honest, has become very us versus them.
Hmm. For sure.
It's very easy to monetize people when they are at a sporting event where it's our team versus the other team. And unfortunately, it is kind of seeped into everything about the world. You know, you have to be on our team, so buy our merch. You have to be on our team, so vote this way. You have to be on our team, so do this, do that. We don't like those people. Let's gather together. Forget our Ooh, I hate this one when people are like, let's forget our differences because there's them. Like in the
Hmm.
same sentence, my dude, you said, forget our differences, but fuck them because they're different.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And just like, I don't know. It's again, it's not a problem I really had to deal with. I never had, like I said, I didn't deal with race much in my life, but I also didn't deal with racist in my life either. And because of that, I just grew up like, just who cares? Like, sure, I had some irrational fears about a culture that I didn't understand at the time, but I went there, I grew to
Hmm.
understand it, and like I stopped worrying about it. And that's kind of how I am with any culture. I'm like, yeah, I don't understand it, but I'll try to. It I don't think less of anybody for being any other culture. I think
Hmm.
that's the big thing is you have to realize that like just like you have to learn to accept who you are for yourself, you have to learn to accept other people for who they are. They're no more or less important or perfect than you are. They have just as many flaws as you, some big, some small. Nobody's special, and in that way, we're all special.
Hmm.
I'm trying really hard to make sense of this, and I hope it's coming across.
No, like I think like it's yeah, I hear where you're coming from. I think, where you've been fortunate that, you didn't encounter like a heavyweight one way or the other. But you also had to recognize when you moved to that different school that there were things that did make you innately uncomfortable because you weren't used to it.
Right. And I
Um,
want to catch before, because I know the internet and everything, before people go, well, yeah, you're white. Of course you didn't experience any. I mean, I didn't experience it third hand either. I didn't
mhm.
see it happening to people around me.
That's how I took
'Cause
it.
I'm absolutely right, well, you know me. You know I wouldn't just stand by for that shit.
Right, but I don't think you grew up like I don't know, from what I understand, I don't think like a lot of your friends and family in your life were also saying shit that would be
No,
off color, you know?
no, and I think that's a big part of it,
Yeah,
racism is very much a learned thing.
1000%.
It's why there's, like, the stereotype of the old racist guy because, well, that's the world he grew up in. I didn't grow up around racism. The few people of different cultures I did meet in my daily life, I hung out with as a kid, and it was fine. My parents were like, "Oh, they're just another kid. They can come over, they could do whatever, they're kids."
Mhm.
So it never really bothered me, and it was never even something that really crossed my mind too much.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and something you mentioned earlier that I think tends to kinda get twisted sometimes is, like, if you move somewhere where you're in the minority, right? Like, or at least like your practices and your customs are in the minority. It is a weird feeling, but that's something that a lot of people who are actual minorities experience all the time. Like when like a black family moves to a predominantly white neighborhood, which is
Yeah,
very common in a lot of places. It was common where I grew up actually, where like we
I'm
had to,
very happy I did this. Like, it wasn't the best school in the world.
mhm,
In fact, I almost lost my ability to graduate through no fault of my own because our dean was an idiot,
stupid
but
dean.
stupid dean. But I do for the For the human growth and the experiences it gave me, I am very happy I did it. There were
Mhm.
times I hated that school. There were times I hated aspects of that inner city culture, like, I always went to bed and all right time. I'm not a partier. I had roommates that would stay up drinking with their friends till 4 in the morning in the dorms.
Mhm.
There were times I hated all of that. But there were times where I genuinely got to talk to somebody and learn things new about the world and everything, and that was really cool.
Yeah. And that's kind of it, right? Is like you want to take something away from it that like makes you, it's like people who handle bugs who can just like pick up a bug off the ground and be like, "Oh, check out this cool critter." And because like they know they've done this before, they've gotten
No,
out of their
those people
comfort
are
zone.
weird. No.
Right, but it's the same idea though, like, like for the people who like handle a lot of animals, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, I
they're
I
just
do
like,
actually agree. I'm just making a
yeah,
joke.
like like when I go to your house, I don't want to be anywhere near your fucking bird. Like, I don't want him anywhere near me, but I also want to be over that. Like, I still have this weird little fear that if this bird sits on my shoulder, he's going to shit on me and then peck out my eyes. it's,
Wait, you really don't like my bird?
it's not that I don't like him. I just don't want him near me. Right.
Really? I didn't know that.
Because I'm not going to be like, I hate your fucking bird. Cause I don't hate your bird, but I don't want to give the impression that I don't like him. But like, my sister
Well,
has a
yeah,
bunch of
sorry, that came
animals.
out wrong when I said you don't like him. I mean, like, birds in general. I didn't
When
know that.
like I'm not afraid of birds, but like I like them at a distance. Like I don't want
That's
them
fair.
close to me. But like, my niece has a bunch of birds that my sister got her, and she's so comfortable. She snuggles them. She picks up chickens with her bare hands and like gives them big old hugs and stuff. And I'm like, I ain't doing that. But also, that's her whole life. She has always had animals that she's a big snuggle bunny, and she just loves birds and creatures and just picks them up and just fucking hugs them and like I'm like, "You're such a brave little kid. I would not want those beaks anywhere near my face."
Well, I'll be
You know?
honest with you. I don't think my bird would ever peck your eyes out,
But he'll
but
shit on me.
he will absolutely shit on you. He will
Yeah,
100% shit on you. He
right.
will he come over to me, stand on me, shit, and then go back to his cage, like,
Yeah.
as if I were the toilet.
Exactly. So, but that's the same idea of just like it all comes from a place of the unknown, of fear, of like something I don't understand, right? And
Yeah.
so you're taught to like be, either you're taught to be afraid of it, or there's part of your little lizard brain that also is like, that's unknown. I don't know what that is. I need to be afraid or always on guard because I don't understand it. Like there's studies about like how like our cave person brain developed where like if somebody who didn't look like you came into your camp or like wherever your dwellings were, you were like, oh, I need to attack that person. They might be here to take my stuff or take my family or take my food or kill me. Like your brain goes like, that's something new. I don't know what that is, right? So like there's like studies behind that. So like getting out of your comfort zone and kind of getting into those new waters is terrifying, but then you learn like, hey, maybe it's not so bad. But unfortunately, some people will have a bad experience and that will trigger a trauma response for a long time. And honestly, I had instances like that as a kid. I am embarrassed, but also proud to say that I'm not proud to say that I was this, but I'm proud to say I got away from it, which is when I was a kid, I learned racism and then tried to get past it when I went to like a school in an inner city that was predominantly a black school. And I had kids that picked on me. I got chased home from school. It was the first time I ever walked to school. And I had these kids, all of whom were black, who chased me home a lot of the times. I would run home from school. And I learned, well, fucking, they all must be like that. Everybody must be bad here. Like, I knew I shouldn't have come to this school. My old school I've never had this problem. And I learned it worse because I had these awful people who but then one day, I went back there and like tried to find one of the kids. Like his name was Josh. And I'm not gonna say his last name, but I know his face, I know his
Fuck
name.
you, Josh.
And I went back there and I tried to find the kid. And I ended up he ended up moving out, but I found somebody who lived where he lived, and I was like, hey, turns out he's a family member of the kid who moved out. And they were like, you know, we talked a little bit and I learned about him and he experienced a lot of racism from the other white kids in the school and from other towns they lived in. So he didn't trust me. He was like, this guy must be a bad guy.
All
he's
right,
this
take it
white
back.
dude,
Don't fuck you,
like,
Josh.
and it was just this awful thing where they're like, he just grew up like that. I'm sorry he picked on you. Like maybe this was what was going on. He also didn't have his dad around. Um, and I'm just like, I would have never thought to ask those things as a young kid, but like I look back on that now and like, this was after I had kind of had some growth and had to go through even more growth over 2020 and the riots and everything. Like had to reckon with the fact that even though I thought I wasn't racist or I thought I didn't have racist tendencies, had to reckon with like, oh, there's still shit that I'm afraid of that I don't know about that I still thought or didn't understand. With all lives matter, Black Lives Matter, all this other stuff. And like it's been a gradual growth period from like when I was like 9 years old to 37. And like anytime I thought that I have nothing else left to learn, society humbles my ass and says, hey buddy, here's some more shit that you
Well,
need
that's
to
the thing
understand.
is you have to realize you are never
You're
done
not done
learning.
learning.
Yeah, you're never done growing, you're never done learning. And the moment you kinda shut yourself off and say, "No, I'm done,"
Hmm.
that's when it's too late,
That's when
you're
my legs got swept out from underneath me and I'm like, oh wow, there's still so much more that I
Yeah,
don't
right?
know. And honestly, I love the idea of learning it now. Anytime that I'm confronted with something, I used to get really uncomfortable, and sometimes I still do, but like it's not as bad anymore. But I remember the day that like was a huge reckoning for me was when I didn't understand the difference between. I didn't understand why all lives matter was a bad thing to say around people who were not white. I didn't understand it. Um, and I'm embarrassed to say that, but like I but because
No, I
but
get
I
it because
was
on the surface, it sounds good.
right.
All
It sounds
lives
like
should matter, but
ex
I think that that is on purpose.
but that's exactly it. Was like if I were to go back and put a better if I could change what those labels were, it would be Black Lives Matter too, all lives should matter, right? Like there's words missing in each
Mhm,
one that would have helped me understand better what they meant. And so like, but I was fortunate that when I was doing online volunteer work, trying to do kind of similar work that I do now, frankly, but I was volunteering and I was connecting people who were food insecure or immune compromised to places where they had extra food. And then we had other volunteers who were on the ground who would go and deliver that food to their homes. And that's what I was doing over the pandemic for a while to kind of help out. And one of the women who ran the organization was a black woman who one time during a conversation mentioned something about Black Lives Matter. And I just out of my mouth, I said, well, don't all lives matter? And she goes, I hate that. And I just remember kind of freezing. And then after the conference was over, I called her and I said, hey, I'm really sorry about this, but I feel like I upset you and I don't understand why. Why was that bad? And she went on to tell me like what that sounds like to other people because
mhm.
people weaponize that phrase when they don't actually mean it. But I also learned on the other side that there were people who understood it the way that I did, right? And they didn't understand why that came off the wrong way. And so it's a reckoning for me and to be able to educate other people in my life like that's not actually what that means, right? They're not using it in the way or like the way you understand is not what it means. But like I said, if those words were put in there, I would have understood it better. But the fact that somebody because there are other people who are like, fuck you, I don't need to educate you. And I know that have pushed there are stories on Reddit of people who could have been potential allies being like, well, I tried and you told me to fuck off, so I don't want to help you anymore, which sucks like that. You're just wounded so easily, you don't want to try anymore. But at the same time, understandably, there were people like, I don't need to educate you. But there were people, that woman was like, hey, man, what questions do you have? I'll do my best to answer them.
Well,
And then
and
she sent me resources and websites to read and books that I can read and other people that I can talk to ask these questions. And I did because I was like, I don't understand. I feel like I've made someone upset, and that was not my intention. What did I do wrong? And I
right,
was
and a
fortunate that there was.
huge sorry, keep going.
I
Go.
was just gonna say I was fortunate that there were people who were willing to talk to me because I've had others say the same thing other people have said, which was like, fuck you, I don't have to educate you, go look it up. But I was untrusting of the internet because, the algorithms can sway any way. And like, I
Mhm.
know I was worried that if I Googled one thing and I would get the wrong information and go down a rabbit hole of learning the wrong thing further. So I needed that human contact to be like, I don't know where even to read. If you don't want to educate me, that's fine. But can you tell me what to trust? Like, who are there YouTube videos that you trust? Are there websites that you trust? And some people were like, yeah, here, read this. And that was it. That was the conversation. But, but I had to be uncomfortable a lot while during pandemic lockdown to be like, I have nowhere to go. So I had to learn how to navigate internet conversations and be like, how do I figure this out? What is the right information that I need to understand? So anyway, just like you were saying, like, but you have to be uncomfortable. You have to like,
Yeah,
I
you
was
have
like, I
to
thought for sure I had peaked on being an anti-racist ally and then learned I fucking knew nothing. And I
you
was
have
like,
to go
ah,
outside
shit.
your comfort zone, literally.
Yeah.
Um, but it's huge that you even recognize, like, "Ooh, I think I messed up," or "I said something I didn't intend to." The fact that you went and then said, like, "Hey, can you inform me of what I did?" Again, the world would be so different if people could just swallow their pride and be like,
I fucked up.
"I don't know this." Yeah,
Right.
I always tell people when, like, because people will ask you, like, "Oh, who you thinking of voting for?" Even though you're not supposed to talk about that. People will ask, right?
Sure.
And I've always told people, one of the biggest criteria I have is just being, like, not even relatable, but just I would almost blindly give a vote to somebody if when asked, "What would you do about this problem and that problem with the country?" I don't know, but I'm gonna surround myself with people who can help me figure it out.
Mhm.
Boom, you got my vote. Instead of BSing me and pretending you have got everything figured out and you know how to fix everything, I will absolutely vote for the person that shows that they're willing to hear ideas. I don't know how I'm going to fix this, but I'm going to surround myself with people who know more about it than I do so we can come up with a solution together.
Yeah. And
Boom,
that
got my vote.
that is something that, comes up a lot in, like, if you're in a like, when I was a dance teacher and even in food banking, there's a lot of times that people say, like, "Hey, what do I do?" Or, "How does this work?" Or, "What did I do wrong?" And a lot of times I had to say, "You know what? I don't know right now, but, like, give me some time. I'll do a little bit of digging,
Mhm.
talk to some people, and I'll get you the answer." Like, if I don't know, I'm not gonna tell you a bullshit answer. Like, I just don't know, but I'll figure it out,
Yeah,
right? Because that gives me a new task.
that's something I'm seeing a lot in my job search right now, right? Is because I've talked to recruiters and stuff, and they're like, "Okay, so what are your skills?" And I said, "Well, I'm pretty good with Excel." And the reason I feel that way isn't because I know how to do a lot of things on it. I do, but it's because I know how to find new things. If I need to figure out how to do something on Excel that I've never had to do before, I know how to word the Google search to find what I'm looking for,
Mhm.
or like to look at a list of formulas and say like, okay, I think I can make it work if I use this formula. But it's learn knowing how to learn new things is, in my opinion, more important than knowing a lot of things in general.
But also wanting to learn, right?
Yeah,
Like, you see it as an opportunity.
right. Well, I guess that would be it. The enthusiasm to learn and the knowledge of how to learn
Right.
is what I think is more important. You can learn to do almost anything. You just got to be willing to
Right.
and know how to.
Yeah, exactly. And
I don't
speaking
know
of that,
how the
like,
hell we got to this, by
and
the
speak
way.
but speaking of that, no, that's a great segue into the thing that I found that I wanted to share.
True. You know what? That's true. I did that on purpose.
I
Let's
know exactly.
go to that.
I know exactly what you were doing. You were trying to team me up, and now you're feeling like it wasn't good enough, but you did a great job. Thank you for doing it.
Hey, no
So
problem, man.
in the Reddit thread that I was reading, somebody had said, like, when it surround yourself with other people that have like different kind of beliefs than you, looks than you, practices than you. But then when somebody said, like, this is a great answer, but not everybody has access to that. And they said, I recommend this resource called the Human Library. And I'm actually going to read their description first because I think they do a good job of explaining it. Um, so they say, I highly recommend the Human Library. It is an organization that hosts online and IRL events where you can spend half an hour talking to a human book from a marginalized or misunderstood group. You choose a title such as Black, Schizophrenic, Irish Traveler, Sex Worker, and meet a real person from that group to hear their story. The idea is to unjudge people by meeting them person to person, and it's a safe space to ask questions. I myself volunteer as a book in the Human Library. My title is Lesbian, and people come to read me for all sorts of reasons. Some of them just want to ask questions about how lesbian sex works. Some of them are questions about their own sexual orientation. Others are parents whose children just came out as gay, and many people just want to hear a different perspective. I love being a book, as do most volunteers. It's awesome to have people genuinely interested in unjudging you when you've spent a lifetime being judged. Even when they ask ignorant or rude questions, I'm glad to be part of their journey to open their minds. And I think that's such a fucking cool concept that, like, the whole idea is like you can so I went on this website and did a lot of digging like over the past like hour before we started recording, and they have they started over in I believe it's Denmark, in Copenhagen, and like now they're across 80 plus countries with different activities, 6 different continents. um and I'm still kind of learning more about it. So they have like in real life sections where you can sit down with somebody, and how it works is you can sign up to be a volunteer, which I already sent an inquiry in before we recorded, and you can sign up to either be a book, a reader, or you can be a librarian. And so, as you heard, like the book portion is you give yourself like a designated kind of title that somebody might be interested in learning more about. And then a reader, you sign up and you say, I want to learn about this. And then you choose the subjects you want to learn about. And you kind of get a book, quote unquote, on loan, right, for 30 minutes that you can sign up to talk to them. And then the librarian portion is you are the facilitator. You are the one that if maybe conversation's coming to a halt and people really don't know how to respond to something or how to ask a good question, you kind of guide the conversation. You make sure people are comfortable. You make sure that everybody's like, having a good conversation, that they're doing it in a safe way. And then like you kind of notate if anything happens or if it went well. So I just think that's such a neat idea that it's like a facilitator, a curious person, and someone who's volunteering their time to educate. Um, and they started, I think, in 2020, and they've like rapidly expanded to all these different ways. And you can do it online now and do like virtual volunteering, which is what I sent out. Also, I asked them if they wanted to come on the show. I don't know if I'm going to get anywhere with this, but I did
Hey, you
say,
know what?
hey,
Sure, why not?
I did say, "Hey, I'm a guy who wants to learn. I work at a food bank and we're trying to find more ways to connect to other people. That's such a great idea. Do you want to do a collaboration?" But also I work on this podcast called That's Our Cue, and we've often had a lot of different types of people come on and share their experiences and a little about them and something they're passionate about. We would love if somebody wants to come on and talk to us further. So who knows? We'll see. But I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask, right? Um, so anyway, I just think it's really cool. It's humanlibrary.org. Highly recommend you check it out. If I remember, I would try to remember to put it in the notes of the edit if I remember to do that. But if not, humanlibrary.org. Check it out. It's really cool. I love that their whole tagline is just unjudge someone. And you can do it all for free, but you can also donate to the cause, which a lot of people do. Um, they're all across different social medias, which I need to find them on Instagram. I got to remember to do that when we're done, and follow them to see what's going on. But I just think that's a really cool idea. And I think, um, like you were saying, if more people just admitted they don't know something and they had a safe space to ask questions like I did way back when, actually, funny enough, it was in 2020 when like I learned, hey, I fucking know nothing.
Mhm.
Um, like, and that's when these guys started. So it's a really cool resource, a really cool place. You can volunteer, you can sign up to read and ask someone questions if you don't understand something. So either way, whatever it is that tickles your fancy, if you're looking to learn or to educate, go on there and sign up. It's easy to do. I've already looked at their sign up page. It just asks you a few questions about like, have you done volunteerism like this before? Why do you want to do this? Are you curious about something, or why do you want to educate about something? And then they just kind of ask like if you're comfortable with virtual visits and like if what days of the week you're available. And then you submit it, and then eventually you'll get a response. Um, so yeah, humanlibrary.org. I was feeling a bit cranky about a lot of stuff, and I think sometimes you need a serotonin boost or a serotonin refresh. And I think when I read that question on Reddit, cuz I was originally going to ask a question about smoking. But then I was like, I'm going to click around and see what other ones are here. And I saw that and I was like, is this person being serious? So I clicked it out of curiosity and I read some responses and I saw that in the responses and I was like, holy fuck, how do I not know about this?
It
And
is right up your alley.
yeah, yeah, I was like, this is like it checks a lot of boxes that what I want fun installers to be. And so I was like, holy shit, what a wonderful um concept. And what a wonderful way to learn and to be uncomfortable, but in a safe space, right? Um, and so, yeah, I just think that's such a great idea. And
But, you know, there was one thing that that one response you read said that I absolutely loved, and that was that they loved being a part of the conversation, even if the person asked very ignorant or rude questions.
mhm,
I love that because you don't know what you don't know, right? Like, you
exactly.
can't I don't know if this question is rude. We actually at my, one of my past jobs, we had a something like that where you could sign up and they had a trans person come in and you were allowed to sit down. It was a group setting, not one-on-one, but you were allowed to sit down in this group and just ask them anything.
Mhm,
And I remember somebody asked something that would be construed as insensitive, and the presenter took it that way and was like, "No, you should never do that. That's very rude, very wrong to do." And I just remember sitting there to myself like, "I'm sorry, but they didn't know. They didn't know that they were gonna be super rude by asking that." Like, yeah,
mhm.
it was one of those kinda obviously rude questions, but how else are they gonna learn? Somebody has to be willing to say like, "Hey, I get that you're asking that. It is a rude question, but here's the answer so you don't have to ask it again."
Right, like, it's hard to find the line of, like, you don't wanna scold somebody because sometimes that pushes them farther away from wanting to ask more questions, but I understand how that can be triggering, but also as a presenter, you do need to be aware of your own triggers, so that way, if you're going to be someone who is a resource, you have to expect that sometimes you're just gonna get questions, and I'm sure that sometimes you're just gonna have somebody who's just gonna try to do gotcha bullshit to try to, get a rise out of you, but that's also part of it is, like, you just have to like, when
Yeah.
you do stand-up comedy, you're probably gonna get hecklers sometimes, and you just have to be able to deal with it.
And you could even
Uh,
turn that rude question into a learning moment. Like, "Hey,
exactly. Yeah.
I see what you're trying to do. Here's where that idea that this bad thing comes from.
Mhm.
But really, it's like this, and it's not
Right.
so bad."
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so that being said, I do have a question for you, Mr. Adam.
Sure.
I know you said you wanted to be a librarian,
Mhm.
but what is your book title?
That's tough because, like, I don't feel like I am in a marginalized like, I technically am neurodivergent, but, like, I've been able to for the like, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm part of that community in the same way that a lot of other people who've struggled worse are, but, like, that would probably be
Well,
I
it
don't know,
doesn't
but, like,
just
I
have
feel
to be
like
social issues, right? Like, you could be anything.
yeah, but I think the book is more so like your own experience of like your own like people I guess like I don't think it would fit in the human library exactly, but like I would probably like like my belief in people is like unrivaled by a lot of other, I
Extrovert.
so like I think like well extroversion is I'm powered by people, but my religion is people. Like my belief that keeps me getting up every day is that people are good. That is like my belief. That is shaken and tested every day. And this is one of those moments where, you hear people say, my faith in humanity is restored, but my faith in humanity, that's a capital F. Faith in capital H humanity every day. And so, like, I think I don't know very many other people who experience humanity the way that I do. And I don't know how to explain that in a way that would give it a book title, but like my if I had to say I had a belief in a religion, it's in people and their power and their will and how they operate. And when they do awful, terrible things to people, I have to keep in mind that's not everybody. And that person might be experiencing something. They might be coming from a bad place. They did a bad thing, and there should be ramifications or education for that. But like, I need to keep my belief in check and it is wounded all the time. But then I remind myself there's just as many beautiful things that don't get highlighted enough, like the human library, which made my chest feel full in a way it hasn't in a little while. And so, like, I think I needed that shot of this is a beautiful thing that exists that I now know exists and gives me such like I don't know, empowerment to know that this is an opportunity for me and other people who might not know. And I have the opportunity right now for however many people are listening to tell them about this thing. And that brings me a lot of joy and lets me think like there are good people and America is struggling right now, but somebody in Denmark said, "Hey, I see a lot of problem and I'm going to do something about it and I have the wherewithal to do it." And this spread rapidly across the fucking world. And I think that is beautiful. But I don't think my book title would like I don't know. I shouldn't say I don't think. I don't know if that would fit in because I think this is more so like marginalized people, and I am not a marginalized person. Now, if I were like, again, my neurodivergence could, I guess, but like I don't know. I don't think anybody's gonna sign up and be like, "Hey, tell me about your ADHD." But if I had like some other kind of combinations that like really put me in like a spot, like, but I'm a white man, I'm a cisgendered guy. Like, I don't think my book would fit in that library in the way that I think they intend for their books to. But I also think they seem kind enough that they'd be like, "Yeah, sure, man. If you want to have that experience, if some people are curious, sign up." Right. But that would probably be it, is like something around the lines of like, my neurodivergent extroversion faith in people combination. I don't know what that would be called. Um, but that would probably be it. But I don't think that's what they're aiming for um with their mission.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I
But what
guess
about
I'm
you? Like, do you
well,
think you have a book title, or conversely, actually, let me ask you: is there something you would sign up to quote unquote read? Is there a type of
ooh.
person or experience that you're like, I don't know jack about that, or I only know a little, and like I don't know where I can trust that. So to hear somebody's experience might help illumine that in some way. Like, do you have,
Honestly,
you know?
the one that I would wanna read the most, and again, I guess this so I guess I misunderstood this a little bit. I thought that this was literally you could title yourself anything, and anybody could just come on and be like, "Well, that looks interesting, that looks interesting,
I mean,
let
you
me."
can.
So I guess in that vein, I would love to, like, read a book from somebody who is in the position I'm in now, where the 9 to 5 grind is kind of almost seeming less the way to go. I don't wanna completely discount it, I'm gonna keep looking for work, obviously, but like I said, things with my side gig have started to roll and talks of money are coming into it. And I would love
Hmm.
to talk to somebody else who's been there and successfully navigated this section of life
Yeah.
so I
That
could find out more about it, what are some pitfalls I should avoid? How do I know when it's time to say, like, I should make a real go of this?
Yeah, I actually I don't think that's what the human library is shooting for, but Danny, I like I said, this checks a lot of boxes for what I wanted Fun and Sellers to be. And I do think that there is a space for that where like to get people's experiences in like a little bit less of a marginalized way, but in like maybe a unique like you were saying, like, I what do I do in this situation? I don't, for me, I have lofty goals of like launching an energy drink. And a lot of times I'm like, but how do people just launch businesses? People just do that all the time. Self starters, like, oh, I run my own
Mhm.
business. Like, how do you do that? I want to sit down with somebody and be like, what was that process like? I don't know what to trust on the
Yeah,
internet.
I wish there was, like, I almost wish apprenticeships never, like, for everything never went away.
Hmm.
Like, way back in, like, the Middle Ages and stuff, it's like, "Oh, you wanna be a blacksmith, you train with a blacksmith for forever, and then you become
Right.
one."
Villages were a
That's
lot smaller back then.
now it's mostly just trades
Right.
that have apprenticeships and stuff, but, like, I kinda wish that the idea of an apprenticeship never went away. Just, "You wanna try this thing? Cool. Here's a trial run where you follow somebody who knows what they're doing to see if you like it and can do it, and then you go from there." As opposed to just reading a thing and being like, "Yeah, I guess I could do that. Here, take my
Mhm.
resume and we'll see what happens."
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think that there is definitely some missing facets to, like, So I like this idea that the human library has, and like maybe they have a more extensive network than I think. I haven't like read the full Monty on it, but like it sounds like it's specific to like judgmental human experiences or like marginalized communities or marginalized people or misunderstood things like like they mentioned somebody who's schizophrenic or somebody who works as a sex worker. Like those are very specific
Mhm.
things that someone might quickly judge, right? Or not understand. But I do think that there is room for something like that, like an alternate library of like very unique experience of like, hey, this is what I did to do that thing. Or how do you do that thing? Does anybody have that knowledge? Um, so I do think that there's room for something like that. Um, but I see where you're coming from, and I think that's a good thing to be curious about. Then maybe we can just dive in together. And maybe if you guys know, anybody who knows somebody, sometimes that's really how it works, right? Is you network and you find a guy who
Yeah.
knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a person, and boom, there it is.
And mom, again, please don't have a heart attack at the fact that I said that. I'm still looking for a real 9 to 5 job, don't worry.
Yeah, you don't want to hear the kind of
I'm
stuff he
not
said he
I'm
was going
not
to do
just,
last
like,
night.
diving into the voice acting and saying, "Forget it, I'm not looking for work anymore." No, I'm
That's
not
literally
doing
what he
that.
said last night.
That's
Don't
not
listen to
what
him,
I
Terry.
said last night.
He said last night, he's like, I'm going to disappoint the shit out of my mom on purpose.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said, yeah. "You know what, mom? Fuck you." Not really, I love you, mom.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, please, no agita, no conniption, don't worry, just
No,
I
it'll be
have
fine.
questions that I would like to figure out.
Yes. Uh, so Danny, before we wrap up, I had another quick question I wanted to throw out. Just because just to kind of lighten the mood at the end, I know we're talking about a very serious subject for a little while, and it's an important conversation to have. And I'm not, I'm glad that we had it. Um, but this is also one that I think is, I think still in the lines of like relatable. And I was curious if you've had anything like this. So this question is from Ask Reddit. It's from PKEO10, who says, "What is the most delicious poor man's meal in your part of the world?" Now, I would like to extrapolate this just a little bit to like, what was your do you have any go-tos that you still think is a poor person's meal? Or like, did you grow up like in a way where you still like identify certain snacks or foods or combinations or meals that you thought like, oh, this is like a normal thing. And then you grow up and you're like, oh, this is just what poor people like, it's just an inexpensive thing that I enjoyed because it was inexpensive. You know,
Yeah,
do
no,
you have any
I
that come to
do,
mind?
and I do, and I love it. Everybody I've ever talked to about it hates it. But a cheese, mustard, and relish sandwich is so good.
Interesting.
It's
Cheese.
so
So,
good.
so you're talking about like actual like
Just
sliced cheese.
a slice of yellow American, throw some mustard on that and some relish on it between 2 pieces of bread.
Interesting.
Mm, it's so good, and everyone I've ever told that to has looked at me the same way with disgust and disdain.
Huh, interesting. So, I'm sorry, say it again. Cheese,
It's
mustard,
just
and relish.
cheese, mustard, relish in between 2 pieces of
Interesting.
bread. It's good, it's easy, and it's cheap as hell.
Interesting. Do you have any
Mhm.
other ones?
I mean, when I was in college, I did the instant ramen a lot because that was, like, 40 cents for one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, so I used to do those. I
Do you have any other interesting combinations of things that you've done? Or maybe that you still do? Like, are there any that you still like, I know you mentioned the sandwich. Are there other ones that you still find that you lean towards?
Another one I like that's not as cheap is, the Tyson breaded chicken strips.
Mhm.
Take that with some shredded cheese and some olives in a wrap.
In a
That's another
wrap?
one, in a wrap.
Why olives? I wouldn't have
The
thought to put
olives
olives in
just
a wrap.
add, like, a good I
Like
don't know, it
salty?
it just like a good salty flavor to it, yeah.
Huh. I've never met an olive that I liked, so I find that very
Oh,
interesting.
I love olives.
That you wanna
I'll
put
I'll
olives in. They're like little circles. I don't know how that fits in a wrap. Like, how does that work?
You cut them in half so that
Oh,
they're
you, like,
half
make them like
circles.
little, like, jalapenos.
Yeah. Um,
Interesting.
hell, sometimes I'll just crack open a jar of olives and eat them.
Yeah, that's a food crime to me. That's insane.
I've done that, and I've done it with, pickles too. I'll just open the jar and just eat a pickle.
Wow. That's
Look,
wild.
I'm a 36-year-old man that still eats SpaghettiOs, alright?
Dude,
I
me too, out of
still
the
eat
can.
SpaghettiOs.
Out of the
Yep.
can, even if they say it's a health code violation, I don't care.
Oh, I don't eat it out of the can. I
Oh, I
do
do.
make it in a bowl.
Straight up. fucking straight up. If I
Oh,
do
what
make it
else
in a
did I
bowl,
do?
it's so I can dip stuff in it and, like, make it like a giant hot soup dip. But, like, if I'm
Um,
just gonna eat it, it's usually out of the can because 'cause I'm impatient.
another one I've done was, I called it, chicken and bloody rice.
Mm,
I would make, like a 90-second rice. I'd get some of, like, the Purdue grilled chicken,
mhm,
cut that up, throw it in the microwave right after the rice, just to warm it up a bit.
yeah.
Throw it in, grab some Frank's Red Hot, just douse the crap out of it, really stir it in until all the rice is really red. Oh, it's so good.
I mean, I
Poor man's curry, that's what that
I
is.
also really like rice was something that came into my life a lot late, well, early and then not for much longer. Did I say talk about that already? I think I did. I can't remember.
I don't remember. Go
Like
ahead.
how like
Who
I thought
cares?
rice made me pee on my dad when I was a kid.
Nope, didn't know
Did I
that.
not tell that story?
I don't think so. I feel like
Really?
I'd remember that.
I thought for sure I told that story.
Rice made you think you peed on your dad?
When I was a kid, we grew up eating a lot of the same things, like a lot of fried stuff, like in this pressure cooker. A lot of like when I grew up, like, what was it? Scalloped potatoes and gravy and stuff like that, like, that was my shit. But, like, I remember when I went back home years later, my mom's like, "Oh, I made your favorite. I know you really like this." And I ate it. My stomach hurt because I hadn't eaten fried food in, like, oil in such a long time. I discovered, "Oh, you can bake meats in the oven." And I was like, "Oh, it's way better." But anyway, like, but when I was a kid, we ate a lot of the same stuff, a lot of potatoes, a lot of meat and potato style stuff, a lot of noodles, a lot of tons of spaghetti. When we'd color eggs for Easter, we had to eat all of the eggs after Easter that we colored for weeks at a time to stretch out meals. Um, but one time I remember zucchini was a new one that nobody liked and that never made it back into the house. And then my mom made rice. It was brown rice, and we had never had rice. I'd never seen rice in my fucking life. I think we were in our first home that I can remember. So I was probably like 5. Um, and with it, and I was like, "Oh, rice," and man, I ate like 2 or 3 helpings of it. I loved it. It was so good. I was like, "How have I not had this before?" But then, like, I was stricken by all of a sudden, like, I had to pee so bad, and my dad was in the bathroom shaving, and I told my mom, and my mom was like, "Well, just go in. Your dad's just shaving. Just go in real quick. Like, if it's an emergency, just let him know you have to go pee." So I ran and I said, "Dad, I have to pee," and he's like, "Okay, just go." And he just like he was wrapping up shaving in the mirror, and I was like, "But my dad's here." And I've never peed in front of my dad before or around my dad, not in the woods. So I tried to stand up to pee. I never tried it before. And so I was trying to do that to think I was going to impress my dad, which like I don't get when I never got praise from my parents like ever. So like I was like, oh, my dad's gonna think he's gonna be so proud of me that I'm 5 and I'm a big boy and I'm standing out and peeing. And so it did, but he commented on it. So he goes, "Oh, you're standing up to pee now, right?" Or he says, "Oh, you're standing up to pee now." And so I heard it. It's like one of those things where you heard it, but it was too late to recognize you heard it. So I still said what, but I didn't just say what. I turned and said what.
Oh,
And
no.
while I was still peeing, I didn't like cut off the stream. I just kept going and I just whipped piss right across the room all over my dad. He was furious. I remember the scene almost like it was yesterday. Like he still had shaving cream, like bits of it on his face. He was trying to like finish that off. Like the mirrors were fogged up because he had just got done showering and then he was shaving afterwards. It was all foggy in there. And like I just remember like, oh god damn it, Adam. And like he just starts swearing. And I just run out the room. I'm just all of a sudden my body doesn't have to pee anymore. Like just and like I just ran. I don't even remember what happened. I blacked out the rest of that day. And like I remember thinking rice made me piss on my dad. Like, the rice must have done
Damn
it
you, Rice!
because I ate so much of it, I thought the rice made me pee on my dad. Because I've never peed on my dad in my life that I can remember unless I was a baby, and that was the new that was the new stimulus in my life was rice. I was like, "It must have been." And I held on to this irrational belief until I was almost 30 years old, Danny.
Oh, dude. Oh my
Like,
god.
I got offered meals with rice in it so many times in my life. It's like, doesn't agree with me. No way. I do not want it. And I would neglect every opportunity I had to have rice. But then one day when I was living in my old apartment, I was trying to find some meals. I thought I was eating healthier, so I'd go get these like TV dinners that were so wasteful now, like because they had like so much plastic in them. But like they were like these healthy looking meals. They're like, oh, it's like lifestyle, blah blah blah. I can't even remember
Mhm.
what the brand was, and it was like this like chicken and rice and corn or whatever. And I was like, that looks good, but I was like, and it's cheap. Like they were on sale for really cheap at the time, and I was like, like, all right, Dad, we're just gonna do this and we're just gonna try it. And my dad won't be around. So I'll just eat and then go to the bathroom. So, and it was a wonderful like chicken and rice. Like, oh, it was so fucking good. And like, I'm like, man, I've been ignoring rice my whole life. This is great. And I didn't pee myself. I didn't pee at all. And then I was like, rice is actually quite absorbent. I feel like it would have made me not pee. So why did I
Yeah,
pee so
that's
much?
what's so confusing. I think this is just, like a causation, a
It was a
coincidence
correlation,
kinda
not
thing.
causation.
Yeah, I think you just happened to have to pee and peed on your dad. I don't think it has
No,
anything to do with the rice.
you are 1,000% right. It was an irrational fear. As a kid, it made sense because I didn't know much and it was a new thing. But as an adult, there wasn't really a real reason for me to think this, but I still couldn't get over the trauma of like peeing on my dad and realizing how furious he was when I got to go do like, and eating this new food that I was excited about and then quickly lost faith in because I pissed on my father. So, so like, I believed until I was like 29 years old that
Oh
rice
my
made me
goodness.
pee.
Dude, so what would this is crazy to me. So what would
It
you do,
is.
like, I use rice to this day,
I
right?
love rice
If I
now.
have a stomach issue, like if I'm sick and I have like just I feel like I'm gonna barf,
Uh-huh.
it can be hard to do. But one of the things that makes me always feel better is sipping a Coke, because the Coke syrup is supposed to help calm your stomach,
Sure, sure, sure.
and eating plain white rice because it
Oh, yeah, rice
absorbs
is
all of
great.
that bad crap.
Yes, and
And
it's filling.
it's hard, it can be hard to take the first few bites, but once it starts to kick in and your stomach starts to feel a little better,
Mhm.
it really does help. So there's some free advice for everybody. But what would you do if you had a stomach issue?
I would drink ginger ale and, like, drink Pepto-Bismol, man, like, that's what and I
Oh
would
my
eat
god.
soup. I
I
would
mean,
eat, like,
ginger ale is
chicken noodle
really
soup.
good.
Like, that was
Soup is
it.
good
Like,
too, but man, dude,
no one in
oh
my
my
life has ever
god.
said, "Eat." No one in my life has ever said, "Eat rice."
Oh, the next time you're having, like, issues with your stomach, even if it's, like, acid reflux,
Oh, I know now.
just eat rice. No, not just you, like, everybody.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you're
Like,
having, like, acid reflux or you're feeling sick or something, just eat plain white rice. It still tastes good even like that,
you heard me
and
here, Doctor Dan says,
it will just soak up all of that crap and make it so much easier.
"Doctor
Oh,
guarantee," tells you
I
now.
love rice so much. I could have rice with everything.
Yeah,
We actually have a rice cooker,
to
like
your
a
point
real rice cooker.
though, Danny, like I have learned that rice is like so absorbent that I love when like there's any kind of sauce to put on it. Like
Mhm.
anything that I can pour like a curry on rice, like any kind of sauce to like color it and to like make it absorbent and it's like a new thing. Any kind of sauce, like duck sauce, like if I go or sweet and sour sauce, if I go to a Chinese restaurant, I will smother my rice with it. And it's so
Yes,
great.
absolutely.
Like,
Yep.
it's so absorbent and it just feels good for it to be in soup or soup on it. Like, it is just a fucking versatile food, and I've been like, I've only had this for about 8 years when I could have had it for, like, 30, and
Yeah,
I'm so
you
mad
I'm
that
sorry, you did not experience a good childhood.
and so, like, yeah, that has been one of the things that, like,
First you
it
tell me you've never had cheese mustard relish sandwiches, and now you're telling me that you skipped out on rice?
I would try it,
I'm
like,
sorry that your life sucked this bad, my dude,
I'm
but I'm happy that you're finally living.
I'm not like, a mustard or a relish fan, but I would still try it. I would still try that sandwich. I
Try
would
it.
any
It's
excuse for me
better
to
than
eat
you'd
cheese.
expect. It's better than you'd expect.
I
I'm not even a
I
huge fan of cheese outside of cheeseburgers, and I
I
love
believe
these
you.
sandwiches.
Yeah. Speaking of which, one that I grew up with, like, I'm sure you know what Spam is, right?
Mhm.
I grew up loving Spam, like, because that was when I went to my uncle's, they were also very, like, below the poverty line, and they buy all this cheap stuff to eat. And if it wasn't if Spam was like the special treat because, like, they had another brand at the store that was called Treat, Treet. And it was like even poorer man's Spam.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
And so I remember like, "Oh, we having Spam?" They're like, "No, we're having Treat." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." Like it
Ah,
still and
the
so
Spam we have at home.
we would cut it real thin into like these little rectangles and then like put it on a skillet and then it would cook like nice and crispy. But then what my uncle would do is he would take like like one of those like prepackaged little slices of cheese individually wrapped and he would rip it in half and put it on that rectangle. It would make like this melted gooey like kind of meat thing, and then we'd put it on a slice of bread. And what we do is he would make two of those, the half a cheese on each side, put ketchup on it, and then put it on a bread, on two pieces of bread, and then it was just like a little sandwich. It's fucking
There you
awesome.
go. Yeah. Look, I got another one for you because I've always had a very weird palate when it came to food. When I was a kid, I used to get wraps and I would just rip them into quarters, right? So I had four
We'd
quarter
make tortilla
circles,
chips.
like a big floppy tortilla chip. I had a special way of rolling it so it became a bowl. And I'd fill that bowl with Frank's Red Hot and just eat it like that.
You love your red hot.
Dude, I go through the big bottles of Frank's Red Hot, like
That's
the
so
really
fucking
big
funny
ones.
to
I
me.
go through 2 of those. I go through about 1 a week.
That's funny.
I have hot sauce every day with breakfast.
Do you really? Holy shit, dude.
Yes. Nothing wakes you up better than hot sauce for breakfast.
You know what?
Actually,
I did buy some ghost pepper hot sauce recently because like I realized when I was sick a few weeks ago that really helped clear up my sinuses.
there you go.
So I do have that.
I haven't used Red Hot in a little bit, only because I bought a gallon of, Danny Cash Red Habanero sauce, and if you know, you know. Oh, that stuff is so good.
Huh.
Um, and that's another thing. I will go through that full gallon in about 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I
I
didn't know you had so much hot sauce.
Hello, my name is Danny Guarantee, and I'm addicted to hot sauce.
Yeah, I would say so. Like, holy shit.
Mhm.
You know what though? Speaking of tortillas or wraps, something that I started doing actually a couple like last year, the year before, when like I was like really broke, was I would buy a pack of tortillas, big ones or little ones, and I would just smear peanut butter on it and then roll it up and eat
There
it.
you go. There's no
Like a
problem
little
there.
mini
I mean,
sandwich.
honestly, peanut butter is great on so many things.
It
Apples,
does look like somebody
bananas,
shit all over
all
the
kinds of stuff.
tortilla when you do it,
Okay.
but it's still delicious. Or I'd put jelly on there too and make it just like a little peanut butter and jelly burrito. It's
Adam, I
awesome.
kinda want hot sauce right now. I won't lie.
Here's one more that I used to do was I would because relied very heavily on like sandwiches. I'd buy like the cheapest bread I could find at like Aldi or something, and it's still cheap now, and compared to everywhere else. And I would put Cheese Whiz because Cheese Whiz was very cheap, like the stuff in the jar, and then apple butter, which I used to be addicted to apple butter, and I would put that on a sandwich and eat it together, and it was weirdly fucking good.
Hmm.
Um, like, I've had people tell me that was the grossest thing they ever heard, but I'm telling you, like, that kinda, like, the fattiness from the cheese and the sweetness from or, like, the Cheese Whiz, it's cheese product, it's not cheese. The fatness from the cheese product and, like, the sweetness from the apple butter just does something, man. Like, I don't know why, but holy shit, what a delight. Um, but there's one that I do now that I caught a lot of flack for from my roommates recently.
Oh, yeah?
It's not I don't know if I'd call it a poor man's meal, but it's just a creative man's meal. But, like, I'll go buy, like, blueberry muffins or blueberry, waffles, and
Okay.
then, chicken patties, like, spicy chicken patties, and then, like, some Colby Jack cheese, and what I'll do and some queso. So,
Oh my
I
god.
like I'll make a sandwich where, like, the waffle 2 waffles are the bread, and then, I smear queso on one or both of the waffles, and then I put a slice of Colby Jack cheese on one side, and then a spicy chicken patty on that,
That
and
doesn't
then I
sound
eat
bad.
that shit up, and holy fuck, if they made that at Denny's, that would be my meal
Dude,
every time I went.
one of the best mistakes I ever made, we have a Quick Check not too far from us, and Quick Check actually makes pretty damn good subs, not gonna lie. And
Mm,
there were 2 I really liked. One was just like a plain chicken, like grilled chicken with, lettuce, and I would add buffalo sauce. I'd tell them to add the buffalo sauce.
mhm,
Other one is Italian,
of
and
course.
I'm sure you could see where this is going. But I ordered the Italian, and halfway through my brain went on the fritz, and I told them to put buffalo sauce on it. It's the only way I get it now. I
One
don't
of the
even
best
get the
decisions
grilled
you've ever made.
chicken. I don't even get the grilled chicken anymore. If I'm going to Quick Check, I'm getting a Italian sub, and I'm telling them to smother that thing with their buffalo spread. It's so good.
I
Oop,
wish I could like
so good.
buffalo dip and buffalo sauce as much as people do, because like I get a lot of people like it, but my palate hasn't adjusted to it yet. But Maybe I can try it on a sandwich like that and see if I can kinda
I've been
get
told
into
I
it.
have a cast iron stomach because of the fact that I can eat this stuff, and I have no stomach issues whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah, until your colon explodes when you're 40.
Yeah, well, that's 40 Dan's problem. Well,
Yeah.
the other week, Mbeluga and I went to visit, our friend Kimmy, who was on the show once, uh,
Twice.
twice. Actually, this was the first of the 2 times,
Mm,
and, we met her at Buffalo Wild Wings, and we're eating, and one of the servers who knows Kimmy came up, and we were talking to them too, and she's like, I had gotten, like, 15 boneless wings in their hottest sauce, and I had, like, 3 left, and the waitress looks at me and she's like, "I don't think I've ever seen somebody eat these as easily as you are." And I'm like, "Well, I have a Buffalo Wild Wings shirt that I got when they built one near us because they used to do that challenge if you could eat,
yeah.
like, a dozen wings in their hottest sauce." I had eaten there, gotten a burger or whatever, ate my meal. I was with my friends, and somebody had mentioned it, and I was like, "Wait, that's a thing? Yeah, let's do that." And they're like, "Well, you just ate." I'm like, "No, don't worry about it. It's just 12 wings." So they brought me the 12 wings, and they're like, "Do you want you can't use, was it ranch or blue cheese?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, no, I don't like either of those. I don't want either of them anywhere near my wings.
Mhm.
You also can't get, like, a glass of milk or anything for the challenge." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's no problem." Boom, just devoured it. It was so good,
Then you had to make
and
poop
I got
soup later.
myself a shirt.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, now that I know that about you, although I think you got some relatively decent spice when I should have given you my soup when we went to that Korean pot place because my soup was way too fucking spicy. I
Oh,
should have just had you eat it.
I've been to K-Pot since, and I get that now, the spicy Szechuan.
Dude, that spicy
Spicy
Szechuan
Szechuan.
was way too much for me.
I
Holy
actually
shit.
found it at the place Beluga and I get Chinese every week as, like, a little treat.
Yeah. If they
I
make a
found
sli
it there, so now I get a big thing of spicy Szechuan with,
man, I gotta try that. Maybe if
with
they make a
beef
milder
and
one,
pepper in it. Oh, it's so good.
I wanna like it. Like, conceptually, the taste is good, but the spice is like, there's a the spice was attacking a different part of my body where like I like a spice that like stays like in the face hole area, but that spice attacked like the throat area, and I was like, "Fuck!" I'm like
Well,
dying
I'll
here. Like,
let you in on a little secret, and I told this to my coworkers too. I had a coworker who grew Carolina Reapers. I've tried them before,
I've had one.
so I know what I'm dealing with.
Hmm.
So I told them, "Yeah, like, I'll eat one here at work, I don't care, but I want somebody to eat the other half with me." And I got somebody to try the other half with me, somebody who does not eat spicy foods. He did not have a good time.
Hmm.
Very funny. But
I didn't have a good time either.
he asked me if I had any advice for him, and I said, "Yes. When you eat a pepper, your natural instinct is to try and get it down as fast as possible to get you get that mindset of, like, if I eat this real quick, maybe I won't get too much spice in my mouth.
Hmm.
All that does is coat your throat in it, which really sucks.
Yes.
Eat the pepper super slowly, chew that bitch for a long ass time, because trust me, you would much rather the front of your mouth burning off than having it in your throat.
Yeah, I remember because it's the seeds that really pack the
It's
spice,
the
and
seeds, but there's only so much of that oil. You
right.
wanna try and get as much of that oil in your mouth as possible because you don't want it in your throat.
Yeah, I remember
Trust
when
me,
I
it still sucks to have, like, well, I like it, but it still
yeah.
burns in your mouth, but, like, trust me, it's better that than, like, halfway down your throat.
No, I get it. When I swallowed the seeds from the Carolina Reaper, I could honestly describe it like if I had ever swallowed glass, it would feel like that. That's how it felt when it went down. Like, holy
Mhm.
shit, it just felt like a bunch of daggers were in my throat. And holy fuck, it hurts
I'll have to
so
see if
bad.
I could find when I tried my Carolina Reaper, it was I don't remember if I've told this story or not, but I went to a wine tasting and there was a hot sauce, Jersey Barnyard Fire hot sauce, I think it was called. And they had a challenge where if you signed a waiver and you ate a pepper from their little basket and you let them film you and put it on their Facebook, you were allowed to take a hot sauce from like this little sample area
Mhm.
for free. So I went up to
Interesting.
them and I was like, "Hey, I don't even care about the challenge. I just want to know, do you guys have Carolina Reapers? I love hot, spicy, and I've always wanted to try one." And the guy said, "Yeah, we do. Do you want to? But I'm not giving it to you unless you take this challenge and sign the waiver." Smart. So I
Yeah.
said yes. I let him. I tried it, and back then I didn't know the pro strats, so I ate it real quick and swallowed it right away. And you can see on the video because I found it later. I'm just like, yeah, this is really good. This is good. It's kind of warm. Okay, it's getting really hot. And by the end, I'm like asking Umbaluga to go to the honey station and get a bowl of honey so I
Mhm.
could have some honey or try and get some milk or something. I'm like dying. I had to go sit down for a bit. And then finally, when it went away, I went back to the stand and the guy was like, "Yeah, so you ate the only Carolina Reaper today. You did a great job. You can have 2 things from anything in the stand."
Nice.
It was a good day.
It was worth suffering.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of the hot sauce high, and that's when the heat finally breaks and you feel really good.
It's like
That's my drug,
it's like the
and
runner's high
nothing.
where, like, you suffer long enough until you get it, and you're like, "Oh, I got it now."
Yeah,
Like
it's like once that Reaper broke and all those endorphins were still flowing through my body, I was just like, "Oh, I'm on cloud 9."
yeah, I crashed, though. Like, for me, I crashed hard. Like, I
Really?
went through, like, a lot of flu-like symptoms throughout my day.
Really?
So I didn't have the same experience. I like spice, but just I think there was a limit, and
I
that was
love
probably it.
spicy. I love spicy.
Love ghost pepper. Ghost pepper, I think, is, like, one something that, like, I've gotten used to. Carolina Reaper, I feel like I would need to have more exposure to it, but ghost pepper I can have pretty
Ghost
consistently and be okay.
Yeah, Ghost is the pepper I go to if I want, like, something spicy, but not I'm not, like, in the mood to be like, "Yeah, give me the hottest thing you got."
Right, which is still pretty hot,
But
though.
if I still like spicy, I will go for a Ghost. If I want flavor, habaneros are my favorite.
Mhm.
Ah, man, mango habanero is just, mm, to die for.
You know what I think is gross is jalapenos. Like,
Oh, no, no, I'm fine with jalapenos. I actually
it's
used
not the
to
spice, it's the taste.
That's another one I used to just buy in the jar and would just eat straight out of
I
the
don't yeah, I don't
jar.
get that, like, there are some things that I just don't get the taste of, and, like, the spice levels of a jalapeno is fine, but the taste, I'm just like, "How do people just eat these things?
Oh,
Like, these
no,
are
I'm
not good."
fine with the taste.
Yeah, I don't get that. I haven't gotten the texture and the taste do not add up for me, and I wish it did because I the spice is fine, but the
I
taste is just
actually
like, nope, very
Yeah,
weird.
I might get another jar of another
There you
jar
go.
of that. That
I'm
sounds
glad
really
we're
good.
inspiring,
Well, you need to
your
get creative with your snacks when you have diabetes, right? And peppers have no carbs.
hey,
I
man, I
can
get
eat
it.
as much little habanero slices as I want.
On the other end, you know what I discovered? When I was sick, my new friend Hitch brought me, like the lovely person they are, brought me a little care package when I was really down a few weeks ago.
Aw.
And they brought me in that care package because they know that I'm trying to like watch for how much sugar I consume and drink. And they got these sugar-free popsicles. There's 18 in a box, and I don't remember who makes them. But I didn't realize I went through this box so fast over the course of a few days. But I started to feel guilty that I was eating all this junk food. Then I looked and I was like, there's like no sugar. There's no carbs. There's like a few like vitamin like a few percentages of like a couple of vitamins in there, and that was it. There was next to nothing. I don't know what they're made out of, but like as like unless it's just the red dye I'm consuming, I felt no guilt anymore for devouring that whole box of
There
popsicles.
you
I was
go.
like, it's just a cold thing, and I felt better because I was like, unlike a box of cookies that I will fuck up because like it's not cold or it's not hot, and I can just plow through it, a popsicle you have to kind of savor and like take your time with and stuff. So I was like, I was eating it for longer and I could stretch it out longer and it made my throat feel good when it was sore. And I was like, hey, I think I found a special treat that'll last a lot longer than if I bought a box of cookies in this house.
Yeah.
And like Just like you were saying, like no carbs, next to no bad things in it at all. It's just whatever dyes they use, I guess. I was like, you know what? I think I found my new vice is these particular popsicles that have like nothing in them.
I actually have done something very similar recently with soda. Um, I've
Did you
had
get
a
any Zevia?
long-standing no,
Ah,
sorry. But I've had a long-standing battle with soda.
you mean
Um,
pop?
no,
You mean
I
pop?
don't. No.
My
No, I
little
don't.
soda pop, little soda pop.
Jesus. Um, but it's always I lost my train of thought, you jerk.
Yeah,
I've
I
always had
derailed
a
your
a
train.
big problem with drinking too much soda. It's
Yeah.
probably most likely what led to my diabetes in the first place with normal Coke and then
Mhm.
Diet Coke after. But one of the things I do try to curb it in ways that won't drive me insane.
Yeah.
And one of the things I finally just bit the bullet and tried because I always had sensitive teeth was just using ice
Using
uh,
ice for what?
for when I have a cup of soda, like a glass of soda. So I always had very sensitive teeth. I never eat ice cream, never ate ice cream. I
Mhm.
would get a milkshake instead so I could suck it up through a straw and bypass my teeth completely.
Right.
So I never drank drinks with ice
I
unless it
still
had a
don't. I hate
straw.
it.
Well, now I've been using Sensodyne for so long, I can actually have ice. I probably wouldn't have ice cream, but like I can have ice now without it bothering me.
Mm.
So I started when we have soda, I will get a cup and I will fill it with ice, like almost to the top of ice because
Right.
it slows me down.
You do the fast
There's
food
only
thing
so
too.
much room for soda now,
Right.
and
That's how they get you
half
at
of what I'm
McDonald's.
drinking is just water from the melted ice.
Yep.
So
That
it helps.
that's how they get you in fast food, man. They just fill it with more ice, especially if you're a dickhead, so you
Oh,
have
well,
less
that's
drink and
why
more ice.
I always ordered it without ice.
Also, hashtag fuck ice.
Same
Um,
thing with the movies. I would always order my drink without ice.
I still do, and, like, I always praise wait staff who, like, remember that because a lot of times I'm like, "Ah, dang, they put ice in my drink." Like, I'll just get a straw and be okay, I guess, but I prefer my water sans ice. So if I can get it, yeah, that's my shit. Because 'cause
Mm.
I'm the same way. I do but lollipops are fine, which is weird, but, like, I think the ice just sits for too long, and all of a sudden my mouth is like, "I can't enjoy this drink."
Yeah, no, I don't have that problem anymore. I used to, real bad. Another one that really helped with is, I'm a very sweaty person. So if you're also very sweaty, a cold glass of water, either right from the fridge or with ice in it. How did I never know this? It just makes me it cools me down completely immediately. I don't feel hot anymore and I'm not sweating anymore.
Do you know
To
what
the
also
point
helps?
where Mbaluga and I don't fight over the thermostat anymore. We used to fight over that shit constantly.
Do you know what else helps with that?
Hmm.
Drinking something hot.
No, that nope, not
No,
for me.
it does though. The
Not for
same
me,
way
it
that you
does
said,
not.
like, once the pepper breaks and, like, you feel that high, like, once you get used to drinking something hot when you're hot, like, it actually will cool you down.
So, I know for a fact that that doesn't work for me because I love soup. I love soup stock, I should say. So, whenever we make, like, the Lipton soup, just the very basic chicken noodle soup stuff,
Right, you drink the broth and
I
your
drink
wife
the
gets the
broth
nudes.
and Mbaluga gets the nudes. I
Yeah,
drink the nude juice.
I know, I've been on calls with you when you guys were
Right.
distributing it.
So I will be playing a game with, like, you or whatever, and I just have a giant cup of broth, and I'll just drink it. So I know for a fact that that crap makes me sweat like a motherfucker.
Well, that might be a metabolic thing then. I don't
I
yeah.
I don't know if just, like, my stomach is attached to the rest of my internal body parts or whatever, but if I cool down my stomach, I feel great. If I heat up my stomach, I start sweating bullets.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess everybody's body's built different. Yours is janky and
Oh, if
made
there's
of
one thing I
cast
know
iron.
about me, I'm built different. Not in a great way, but I'm built different.
Hey, man, I'm built like somebody glued, like, 6 different Barbie parts together, so,
Yeah,
like, I get it.
it's
I get it. There's 6 different
oh
action
god.
figures and Barbie dolls, like, my
At least you got some action figures.
legs are long, my arms are short and skinny, my head's pretty big, my torso's long, my ass is weird.
My
But
favorite is
the
that my waist is big for a guy my height. So all of my pants that fit around my midsection, the legs are way too long, and all the
mm,
pants that fit lengthwise are too thin.
oh, yeah, I have
That's
the
a real
similar
fun
issue.
one. I love that.
Yeah, I have to find, like, an odd number for pants to fit perfectly, and I
Mhm.
right now, I am wearing a pair of jeans that instead of, like, trying to get them hemmed, I just cut the fucking legs at the bottom, and, like, I can see the frayed, like, strands coming out the bottom, but they've been like that for, like, a year since I got them. I'm just like, "These are great, they fit perfectly, but it's too long, Imma just cut them," and I didn't
There
get
you
them
go.
fixed.
I used to do that too with, my pants because they would ride under my shoe
Yep.
and get all ripped up in the back.
Right, they're
So
getting
then I
ripped
would just
anyway,
rip
so
the finish just finish ripping it off.
yep, that's
Now
what
I
I do.
just wear sweats all the time.
Yeah, I don't
Plus, I'm
believe in
more
wearing sweats
comfortable.
for me.
No,
I'm
I live in this
anti-sweats,
stuff.
unless I'm sleeping in them.
I o If I'm wearing jeans, I dressed up for whatever I'm at.
Yeah.
When Beluga and I go out on a date, you'd never know it because 'cause I'm sitting there in sweats.
That's how
Well,
she
and
chooses
she
to see
knows
you.
to accept me as I am.
Right. Doesn't have a choice. You guys have
That's
a
right. You
contract.
don't have a choice. She has signed the contract. I took a lot of drugs together to say I do, but they finally worked.
Yeah. You had to trick her into saying "I do." Like, "Do you hate drugs?" "I do." "Aha!
Aha!
What I meant was this."
Do you yeah. Do you hate drugs? Will you marry
Yeah. "I do." Um, yeah, well, there you go, folks. You know, some great ideas for how to eat peppers, how to get your water, how to eat some cheap foods such
Yeah, I'll
as
be honest, I've been in a fugue state for the last hour and a half. I don't remember what we even talked about,
we
so
talked about how not to be racist. We talked about a wonderful resource called the humanlibrary.org. Go check that out. I'm really excited to learn more about it. I hope you are too. I hope you can tell other people about it. Or if you know that you know, if you know that you don't know something and you want to learn more from an actual human, maybe check it out and maybe see if you can book and ask somebody some genuine questions. And of course, we talked about our foods, we talked about our life, we talked about pissing on my dad, we talked about all those wonderful things, and about how Danny is, trying not to get a regular job anymore so he can purposely disappoint his
that
mother.
is not what I said.
We talked about all of these things that are happening. So, thank you everybody for listening. Danny, please tell people things that you want to tell them before we wrap up.
I think maybe I'll make some chicken with hot sauce after this.
All right, well, you got to say that louder. You got to use your big kid voice if you're going to wander on
Sorry,
long.
I was talking to myself. I think
I
I
know.
might make some chicken hot sauce after this. Anyway, thank you all so very much for listening. We really do appreciate you. I appreciate you. And you guys are why we do this. Just by being here and listening. So if you know anybody you think would like the show, please just tell them about it. It's the best way to help us grow. It's the best way to make sure we keep doing this. If you happen to have the money to want to support, we would greatly appreciate it. But even if you don't feel bad. We do not expect it at all from anybody. We just hope that you enjoy the show and listen. And we hope that it brings a little light to your life, maybe cheers you up a little bit, brightens your day a little bit. And most of all, don't be a
Don't
piece
be a
of
piece
shit
of
this
shit
year.
this year.
Just don't be a piece of shit this year. Just don't.
Just don't do it.
Just
Just don't
don't.
be a
It's
piece of
not
shit
that
this year.
hard.
It's honestly, it's the easiest thing,
When you
easiest
have
New
a
Year's
piece of
resolution.
shit thought, just don't do it.
Right. Think about the analogy of recycling or
Yeah, just think,
reducing
would a
waste.
piece of shit do this?
Yeah.
Yes? Then don't do it.
Yeah. If you ask yourself, would a piece of shit do this? And then don't do that thing. Right? Don't do that
That's
thing.
it. Just don't.
And it goes very well hand in hand with, like, if you wouldn't want it done to you, don't do it to other people. And I think a lot of people forget that. Like, if you don't want it done to you or said to you, don't say or do it to other people.
Yeah,
And
that
that
the golden rule for a reason.
right, like, if you don't want it to happen to you, if you don't want people to cut you off in traffic and not use your turn signal, then don't do it to other people. If you don't want people to curse at you, don't curse at other people. If you don't wanna drop C-bombs and words you don't wanna hear, don't do it to them. Don't be racist, and then if somebody says something about your lineage, if you're, like, Polish, Czech, whatever your, racial background is, if you're white, then don't say the thing, right? If you don't want people to say things that hurt you, if you have someone you love and you don't want someone to say something bad about someone you love, like your mom or your dad or your dog, right? Then don't do that to other people. Just don't be a piece of shit, right? Just don't do
Just
piece of
don't.
shit stuff.
Just don't. If you don't want other people to be a piece of shit to you,
And don't be a piece of shit to
don't be a
them.
piece of shit.
Yeah, that's why it's our motto this year.
That is my New Year's resolution is I'm gonna remind everybody constantly,
Constantly.
"Don't be a piece of shit this year."
Right. If you're like, "Hey, man, I'm about to say a real mean thing," and you're like,
And if
"Don't
you
do it."
do end up being a piece of shit this year, I want you to know I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed.
But you need to repent and you need to send us money, more money at
Yes.
Ko-fi.com/Funinstallers.
We're starting a universal swear jar.
Yes, every
If you
time you're a
swear, you
piece
have
of
to
shit.
donate $1 to our Ko-fi.
No, every
It
time you're a
look,
piece of
it
shit.
works on the honor system, so don't be a piece of shit
Yeah,
this
if you did piece of shit stuff, you need to send us money.
year. And don't lie. We'll
Yeah,
know. We're
don't lie
watching
'cause
each of you
it's
through your
true.
phone.
It's yeah, we're doxing y'all, and we
That's
know.
right. I know who
Listen,
you are, George. I
listen,
know.
hey, listen. Hey, 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 you know what? I see you. I hear you. I see that you're about to click on a video that's a bit sus. Don't do it. Don't do it. I see you're about to say a mean thing in the comment section. Don't do it. Don't just don't be a
And
piece
I
of
swear to
shit.
God, if one person comments and says that my cheese, mustard, and relish sandwich sounds gross, I am never doing one of these again, and it'll be your fault.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna have to get another co-host, and that's a whole other thing.
There's
And
so much paperwork involved. You don't
there's
even
a lot
want
of
to know.
paperwork, and I have a German guy who's waiting for Danny to quit, so that way he can come and co-host the show. So, and like I love the guy, but you would have to get used to getting used to his dialect. I love the man dearly, but it took me a while to get used to it. And like,
Oh
you have
God,
to you
he's
have
like a
to
different culture. It's so creepy. It's scary.
now you and then you just pass a threshold and you're like, I speak German now. Like
Yeah,
I
we
get
were
it.
just talking about German the other day.
It's yeah. And Adrian, I love you dearly. You're my brother from
You
a
are the
German
best,
mother.
Adrian. I
I love
love
you so
you.
much. Okay, and having said that, don't be a piece of shit this year. If you want to learn about people, go to thehumanlibrary.org. And on that note, please, from the bottom of our hearts, take care of your mind, take care of your hearts. And please, for the love of all things good in this world, take care of each other. And we will see you next time on That's Our Cue, baby. Ta ta for now.